Hey everyone, I'm Kim with Stonehill Homestead, and today we are making a few different recipes. We're starting off with Frito Pie, and I need to get this hamburger fried up. And it is a recipe that comes from a friend of mine, Angie. And Angie has made this. I'm sure there's other recipes online somewhere. I just have used her recipe and we're gonna keep with this. I also have a daughter-in-law, Angie. This is a different Angie. And we're just gonna fry up this hamburger, get it all browned up. And when we do that, we'll be adding some onions. And while we're doing that, frying this or browning up this ground beef, we are also going to be getting the pie crust ready. So I'm going to take you over for that and we'll get that going. So for the bottom layer, just going to spray your pan, and we are going to get some crescent rolls right here. And you need 1 pound of ground beef, which we're frying up, and 1 container of crescent rolls. And you're gonna press these crescent rolls into the bottom of this pie plate. And what I like about these recipes that are in a pie plate, one, it's easy serving. It doesn't make a lot, and it's just nice to have for a take to work meal. So I'm unrolling these, and we're just gonna use these up. You can rip them apart to make what you need to fit this pie plate. And as you do this, you're just going to press it in and cover the bottom and the sides. And as you press it in, you're going to seam that together. Just like so. The other recipe that I will be making is called spaghetti pie or spaghetti casserole. And these are all made in pie plates. And like I said, the reason I use these is because it just makes it nice for servings to come out and prepare for work. As I press it, we're gonna get this all into a nice pie crust here. And get that all shaped in there. And all these seams taken care of. And we're just continuing to frying up this hamburger. I've added the onions, and the next thing I need to add is the taco seasoning. And the taco seasoning is your choice, whether it be homemade or from a package. I'm going with convenience today, and we are just going to use the pre-made from the package. I haven't found a recipe yet I like of the kind you make yourself. So I'm still working through that. Just like I said, just trying to find something that I enjoy, that tastes good. And I just haven't found one yet. So maybe you all have a good recipe. I've tried a couple different ones, and like I said, just none of them have the good taste that I like from the store-bought ones or from Azure Standard. I just haven't found it yet. So for 1 pound of ground beef, we are going to mix, I believe it's one package or a 1/4 of a cup. So we're going to do the 1/4 cup. And it also calls for water, and it says 2/3 cup water. I don't like adding the water because I like it to be a more dry consistency, if you will. I just prefer that texture more. And then that way it doesn't make my crust for the pie portion or those crescent rolls, it doesn't get them soggy. And then it pulls out really nice. And I will add water here if I think I need it. But it doesn't look like I'm going to need any for that. And it's all mixed up nice, and now we're going to go to the next step. I have preheated my oven to 350 degrees for this, and let's put this pie together. So here's the pie crust, here's the meat in the background here. The next thing we're going to do is add Fritos. You can use chili cheese, which we prefer, or you can use the original. So I've already crushed these up. I'm going to add these to the bottom of this. And I may have crushed too much. I may have to, yep, I did. I'm going to pull some of these back out. So I might have crushed up enough for 2 pies, and I'm only making 1 today. Yeah, I'll take another little handful of my crushed. I'll save those for another pie. I'll just put them in a Ziploc baggie. There we go. So once those are spread in there, then I'm going to take the ground beef and we're going to add that on top of this mixture. Go, and we're going to spread that all over the corn chips, or the Fritos, I should say. And then the next item, and you can do this, not do this, you can change it up to suit your needs, but it's 1 cup of sour cream on top of that, ground beef. So I'm just going to dish out my sour cream here. And you are going to spread that all over. Now, some people have used cream cheese, melted cream cheese on this. It's not spreading as well as it does normally. I should have brought my cream cheese out of, or sour cream out of the fridge a little bit sooner to warm it up a little bit. But you're just going to spread this all over the top. Till it covers all of that ground beef. Trying not to be perfect here. Obviously, I'm not a chef by any means. I'm sure you all know that. So there's that. And the next thing is you are going to add your shredded cheese on top of that. 2 cups, you can put as much or as little as you want. We like cheese, so I'm just going to put on 2 cups of cheese here. And so basically all the ingredients in here are already cooked, except with the exception of the crescent roll. So I'm going to bake this at 350 degrees for, it says 15 to 20 minutes. I will watch to make sure that crust on the bottom is done. And that's it. So here, I'm gonna move you back so you can see the whole pie. There we go. Didn't realize it got out of frame there. So there you go. And we are gonna bake it now. And our next pie recipe for dinner is spaghetti pie. We're getting water coming up to a boil. I have my tinkyata spaghetti noodles, 8 ounces. And now I'm gonna mix up the other ingredients. So we're gonna start with 1 egg. And this egg needs to be beat. And then some soft butter. And now we're gonna wait for the pasta to get done, and then we will toss the pasta in here. And now you see that butter still hasn't melted. We're gonna be adding the spaghetti noodles, and that will continue to melt all those little pieces of butter. And we're gonna coat that spaghetti noodle with the butter and the egg. And now we're going to add 1 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And once we add that, we'll mix that all together. I'm just making sure everything's coated nicely. I've never tried the kind of Parmesan cheese in the green can that you buy at the grocery store, so I don't know if that would work or not. I just use the pre-shredded Parmesan cheese by Kraft. You're also welcome, of course, to grate your own if you have that. I just didn't have any on hand, so I am using what I did have on hand. And here I dump in that 1 cup of Parmesan cheese, and I mix it up in there nicely, get everything all blended well. And this is what makes the crust of the spaghetti pie. Now is a good time if you're going to be seasoning it with either salt or pepper. You'll want to do that as well here. It's only to taste. You probably wouldn't need to add any depending on what you like. But I am choosing to add some pepper because you just need some pepper. I should have probably opened it here instead of shaking it, but it works. And then I grab my Redmond's real salt, which I get from either Azure or straight from Redmond's. I have my link down below in the description. And I just add some salt and seasoning that pasta right now. And I'm going to mix that up as well. And it looks like it's mixing nicely. So that Parmesan cheese is also getting kind of sticky here together. And pressing this into the pie plate is pretty, I think that's where that cheese really comes in handy for the baking process to create your crust that you will be creating once it's in the pie plate. So I'm just trying to, again, to really mix this up and get everything blended in nicely. And here I am pulling that pan over. go. And we're going to press this into the pie plate for the crust. As you can see, I am taking it up on the sides here. So that it makes a nice crust. And it's not going to be perfect. There we go. There is that. Now the next piece is you would spread cottage cheese or ricotta cheese over this. And you would spread it on smooth. I am using something different. And here you see me adding 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese mixed with Italian seasoning. And of course, you can always use ricotta cheese or cottage cheese. Does not matter. It does the same thing. The flavor obviously will be different, but we do like the cream cheese. It makes it much more creamier. And we just prefer it. It's something different. You could also season up the cream cheese with something more like garlic or whatever you would like as well. But here I am just spreading it all around. And the next step I will be doing is adding the marinara sauce. It calls for marinara. You could open a jar of spaghetti sauce from the store, whatever you want, your own canned kind. However, I had previously made a bolognese sauce and made double and put it in, half of it in the freezer for a future meal. And so I'm using that. So I have this pasta sauce that I am using. It already has ground beef in it as well. We like a meaty spaghetti, so I did add beef to it prior to freezing. I also have some chunky tomatoes that I used up also in it. So it's quite a chunky pasta sauce. And here I am dishing it into that spaghetti shell. And it wasn't quite thawed here, so I had to get it on the stove and finish thawing it out. I put it in my skillet, my pot, saucepan, and finished thawing it, cooking it down, and getting that a little bit warm, I guess, if you will, to put it on top. You don't have to do that. It just that this was frozen, so I had to get that done. And here it is. The rest of it now is thawed, and I'm just spreading it out. It calls for 1.5 cups of marinara. I have a little bit more than that in this. I'm going to say I have more like 2.5 to 3 cups because this is a deep dish pie plate. And it just worked perfectly. I still ended up with a little bit extra of my sauce. So maybe it was more like 2.5 cups that I put in here. And now the one final touch, which you don't have to do, but you are welcome to do, I put just a little bit of mozzarella cheese on the top just for it to have a nice crust on the top. But you can always add more Parmesan to it, provolone to it, whatever you would like. But we just choose to use just a little bit of mozzarella. And I think it just makes it present nice, if you will. And that's just how we finish the dish. Then we will be baking the dish, and we'll get it in, again, in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. And I think I actually ended up a little bit longer than that. But as soon as I get this sprinkled on here, we will get it in the oven. And so here is the spaghetti pie. And I will be cutting all of these out shortly. So you can see how they all come out. I'm just sitting back here. The Frito pie. And I've got one more item that I'm going to bake. And here is the cinnamon sugar blondies, and they look great. I'm just gonna let them cool off and we will taste them for supper tonight. And here's the Frito pie, as well as the spaghetti pie. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for liking, subscribing, sharing. And as always, be blessed and laugh as much as you breathe. Have a great day, everyone.